This is We All Be, News Free Dixie for the 21st century. See how it works? Somewhere. Can you dig it?
Okay, let's talk about Shannon versus Skip. Get through that real quick. And thank y'all for all the people who donate and will donate, the moderators. Brother Al Kurt, thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate you, bro, from Virginia Beach. Got people from Virginia Beach. All I want to do is zoom, and a boom, boom. And Brother Steve Hudson, thank you so much. We love you madly for the great commentary, Brother Ron, somewhere. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all. This stuff coming through. And all the people who donate in the future. But let's talk about this Shannon Skip thing. I just want to make a quick observation about that. Yeah, I know my neighbor said he loud, but I was like doing anything but the right thing. Nobody would say nothing. That's how I look at it anyway. But Ron, you just let me see. Okay, I know everybody heard about it. Even you're not a sports person. I know y'all had to hear about this thing that happened. So-called disrespect on Undisputed Truth. Smiling faces. Pretend to be your friend. Smiling faces. You know, skip. You disrespect me like that. Skip. You know, Shannon Sharp, one of the greatest tight ends in football. You know, y'all, you mean one of the greatest tight ends, football players of all time, 3-time Super Bowl champion. The brother, one of the greatest wide receivers, whose career was cut short tragically. The great Sterling Sharp. I wonder what happened to Sterling. Don't hear too much from him these days. And also Skip Bayless, Skip Bayless, his co-host. They got the Skip and Shannon Undisputed show on Fox. They've been together. I call them the odd couple since 2016. So 6 years, and then the wheels fell off the wagon yesterday. Shannon went in on Tom Brady, that horrible, terrible game on Sunday versus the 49ers. Was it the 49ers? Well, Tampa Bay got thrashed at home 35-7. And you know, Skip, if you follow up these shows, Skip is a big time Cowboys fan as well as a big time Tom Brady fanboy. So Shannon, skip. Brady got it. Skip. Yeah, Shannon. I love Shannon. But anyway, Shannon was tearing into Tom Brady and Skip. Skip was defending Tom. And basically, he was punching below the belt. He said some very disrespectful and hurtful things for Skip, saying that you just mad because he could still play at 45 and you had to retire at 35 because you couldn't make it, and that he's the greatest football player, greater than you. Basically, he's a Hall of Famer, and Skip was Shannon, I'm a Hall of Famer, Skip. I'm a Hall of Famer, Skip. And Shannon was about to get real serious. The man about to turn into a Credible Hulk. Took his glasses out, and Skip said, now, put your glasses back on. Add a boy, add a Negro. Add a buck. He didn't say it like that. I'm saying that. But I'm gonna be honest with you. It was kind of weird to see Shannon as a big, strong black man get a high-pitched voice. Like he was like, it's like they lovers or something. The way he went off on Skip act like the man, like, you gotten fat, you know what I'm saying? I don't like that dress on you. And Shannon, like, his voice just got high pitched in certain places, and I respect him for his restraint if it was real. I don't know if it was real because I heard that they have been having ratings issues. Like their ratings are not up to where like Stephen A. Smith and his people doing on ESPN. So I feel like it could have been a setup. People thought it was real, but it's interesting. People are so invested in this stuff because nothing but bread and circuses. Even if it was real, Who cares? I mean, is a retired athlete, you know, then got this old sports reporter in his 70s, in some ways out of touch, some ways in touch, privileged white man from Oklahoma City, families, being a restaurant business. He actually got a famous brother, Skip Bayless does. He's a chef and all that, and a TV personality like Skip. But my thing is about black people. Why do you care what white folks think about you? Shannon Sharp achieved all these things. 3-time Super Bowl champion, believe first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever play the game. And you were about a dude that could barely average 1 point per game as a basketball player in high school, saying that you're not better than Tom Brady. Is that serious, man? You got more. I mean, if you're going to be that vain about it, I mean, you got way more social media followers than Skip does. And your podcast, they both got their own podcast. Your podcast got more listeners and followers and supporters than Skip does. I mean, why do you feel the need to be this emotional about Skip? Skip. You disrespect me, let that skip. Why do you care, man? See, the thing about black people, about my people, is that we want the white approval. We don't care about being okay, being validated by ourselves. We want white folks to acknowledge it. We haven't made it until white folks, man, until Whitey said we made it. You know what I'm saying? That type of mindset. You ain't nobody until white folks say you somebody. Black money ain't nothing to white money. But the thing about it is, like Dick Gregory acknowledged, he said, he had came back to the black community. Black folks made him so successful that they couldn't afford to see him in his prime. So he made it a decision to come back to his people towards the end. He said, y'all put me up where y'all couldn't even afford to help me. Now I'm coming back to you all. See, never underestimate the power of black solidarity when it comes to us moving on something or supporting anybody on any cause. Because we can shift paradigms. Football would not be football without black people. What's interesting is that people I like HBCUs is nothing when it comes to football, but some of the greatest football players of all time come from HBCUs. I mean, it's before prime time. We have yet to see what Travis Hunter will do in the NFL. I mean, he played at Jackson State for 1 year, but you look at Walter Payton from Jackson State. You look at Jerry Rice from Mississippi Valley State. Steve McNair from Alcorn State. There's different HBCUs throughout. Even Eddie Robinson Grambling, he sent a whole bunch of football players to the NFL, to the pros. And you look at the fact that the NFL was weird because they weren't even trying to scout for a black talent at HBCUs. It wasn't until Lamar Hunt and company, Al Davis, and then they formed the American Football League, and they were recruiting black players from the HBCUs. Lamar Hunt, who was the founder of the Dallas Texans that became the Kansas City Chiefs. Lamar Hunt, who's Eddie H.L. Hunt, was a big oil and media tycoon who's tied to the JFK assassination. That Lamar Hunt. Lamar Hunt's trophy, American Football Conference Championship. Lamar Hunt's trophy is given to the winner of the American Football Conference right before they go to the Super Bowl. That Lamar Hunt was a pioneer in scouting talent from HBCUs. So this is way before primetime was even born. Not way before. It wasn't way before, because primetime was born in the late 60s. So, before he became primetime, they was already doing this. But my thing is, I think it's a ratings thing. I think it's weird. I don't believe it was real. It's funny how people responded to now. Skip has a reputation for disrespecting black athletes. Like, he disrespected Terrell Owens, T.O., and T.O. put him in his place. Now that's worth watching how T.O. conducted himself dealing with Skip, because T.O. should have been the first ballot Hall of Famer. They disrespected the NFL, disrespected T.O., and y'all went along with it, because they say he was bad, but you never heard about T.O. getting into any type of domestic violence situation. You never hear about him getting in trouble with the law. All this stuff was like with the NFL, his antics, his showboating, celebrating. But he was a phenomenal athlete, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, one top 3 wide receivers of all time. And yet you disrespect him by snubbing him on the first ballot. And then Skip saying, well, the times he was a locker room cancer. And then he talked about the time. I remember that time when T was on the sideline going off on Greg Knapp, the offensive coordinator at the time. And Greg Knapp is deceased. He died not too long ago. I want to say within the last year or two. And T.O. pointed out, well, what about the time Tom Brady went off on his offensive coordinators? He went off on his offensive coordinators and players many times and never apologized, the so-called GOAT. And then Skip said, okay, I see what you're saying. But everywhere T.O. went, he wasn't the problem. T.O. played in the Super Bowl on a broken leg. Ain't no forget when T.O. came to the Super Bowl on a broken leg and played his assets off. If the Eagles would have won, T.O. should have been the MVP. He should have been the MVP anyway for playing on one leg at that level he was playing at. He had Donovan McNabb barfing up Campbell soup on the field. I don't know Donovan McNabb. I mean, he just went down after that. He's like Donovan, but Donovan had an issue with T.O., but T.O. was producing, man. Everywhere T.O. went, he produced. Those places, Randy Moss, as great as Randy was, he didn't produce for the Oakland Raiders. He produced for the Patriots and for the Vikings and stuff. Randy was a beast, but if I had to pick between Randy and T.O. when I'm starting a football, I'm picking T.O. I'll pick T.O. over Randy Moss. I know a lot of y'all will go for Randy. Randy is a freak of nature, of course, but I think T.O., I don't know, but Skip also got into it with Jalen Rose, and like Jalen said, well, you talking about Pistol Pete, you water Pistol Pete Jr., what I'm saying, like Pete Maravich, Pistol Pete, great scorer from LSU, basketball scoring great, but Jalen Rose went into Skip and said, well, you played JV or whatever basketball in high school, you was averaging like 1 point whatever points per game. He said you were like Pistol Pete or Water. He said Water Pistol Pete Jr. And Skip was mad about that. But Jalen was defending himself because he talked about how Skip called Chris Bosh, who's an NBA Hall of Famer and a championship winner. He won them 2 rings with the Heat with LeBron and Dwayne Wade. He called him Bosh Spice, like he was talking about he was soft and effeminate. And Chris Bosh did produce. I mean, I remember that when they went to the championship that first year, when the Miami Heat lost against the Mavericks, Chris Bosh play should have never been in question because he was consistently putting in work, and he cried, and but he was trying to imply that Chris Bosh was Bosh Spice, like the Spice Girls said, Bosh Spice, implying that he was soft. So he was attacking that man's character, and and even with Chris Carter and so on and on and on and on and on. What I'm saying is, why do we care what Skip Bayless have to say about anything? He's just a talking head. And it's the idiot box. The TV is the idiot box, right? But Shannon still needs that white Zeddy approval like so many of us need. See, I thought that it was this Scary Cruz or Terry Crews had an issue because, like, when the man grabbed his assets, grabbed his balls, he did it in front of Terry's wife. And Terry said he was angered by it, but his wife told him to come down. We got to pay that mortgage, baby. Basically what she said. She said, he did it for my wife. And he said, now come down, baby. We got to pay the mortgage. We got a lifestyle. Baby, we got a lifestyle. You got to think about it. He must have did this before. This wasn't the first time this man grabbed, but it just happened to do it in front of his wife. Therein lies the problem. But a lot of you guys getting their balls grabbed metaphorically, whatever, every day in Hollywood, in this entertainment industry complex. You got these big swole brothers. They got really sensitive egos. They really sensitive. They really, really sensitive. How you gonna disrespect me like this, Skip? How you gonna disrespect me like Skip? That's what I'm saying, Skip. Hey, you disrespect me, Skip, Skip, Skip. I like Shannon actually, but Shannon got a popping podcast. He got more followers than Skip. What's the problem? What do you want from Skip? What do you want from Skip? Why do black people think that white folks are their friend? I think Shannon seen him as a friend, where Skip saw him as an associate, and there's a person that's a professional. I don't think that Shannon ever went. Maybe he did go to Skip house or one. I don't know, but I'm saying black people are interesting. We are interesting people. We're confused people as a group. We always looking for allies instead of being a friend to ourselves. Instead of being a friend to that person staring back at you in the mirror, you looking for people outside of yourself to be a friend to you. And black people got no friends. Not like that. So more power to Shannon and Skip. Skip haters gonna hate. Players gonna play and haters gonna hate. It is what it is. But I just think Shannon need to get over it. Shannon need to get over it. It's weird. But what do y'all say? Let me see. Oh, who is Precious Aunt? Well, we're gonna talk about her. I'm gonna talk about her. I'm gonna get this Boots guy out the way, the Victor Boot, and we're gonna say the best for last, right? We're gonna talk about Dorothy Pittman, who just died. Dorothy Pittman, y'all might not know their name, but y'all know the image, the iconic imagery of Dorothy Pittman. Y'all know about that. Okay, thank you, brother Dan. We love you, madly. Thank you, Sister Lauda. Y'all funny. Yeah, I'm just trying to go through. Oh, Tom Brady. You look at his numbers. The NFL is down all around. It's not impressive. The NFL is not. It's very lackluster this year. I'm not the biggest football fan, but like the stats for the quarterbacks, Tom Brady is not really washed up, which is amazing. He just don't have the weapons he had 2 years ago, even a year ago when he went to the conference championship. He don't have the weapons he had around him like he did last season. But I still think he could go one more year. I mean, his numbers are not really bad because he's Tom Brady, there's a higher expectation. But you look at his numbers in comparison to the rest of the league, he's right there with the league leaders in terms of touchdowns and yardage and stuff like that. It is what it is. But Tom is 45, so he's still playing. But I mean, Tom is the GOAT to a lot of people, but he is not my favorite football player. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like Lawrence Taylor. There's a lot of different players, different positions, but I guess for the quarterback position, he has set a standard. It's gonna be hard to overcome. I mean, he's on the mountain. He's by himself. He almost got 90,000 passing yards. Excuse me. Well over 600 touchdowns. I mean, it's impressive because it deals with longevity, but also the rules have been changed. I mean, because if he had to go through the same NFL as a Joe Theismann who got his leg ripped up real bad by Lawrence Taylor, just destroyed that guy. If he had to go play in the same NFL of a Joe Montana and a Dan Marino and a John Elway, he would not been playing this long. I guarantee you that. He would not be playing this long. But it is what it is. Different eras. Showing up. Yeah, they are distraction. It's bread and circuses with them type of guys. I mean, they're there to distract you from real issues. Shannon and Skip, at the end of the day, or Skip and Shannon, what they say about anything ain't really important, but people put a lot of time and because y'all emotionally invested. Who cares about if Skip disrespected Shannon? As many black men Skip have disrespected over the years, and Shannon hasn't said a mumbling word. And the things Shannon has said recently about certain black people, who really cares if he feel like he's disrespected? He didn't walk off that stage. Shannon got enough sense not to slap the taste out of Skip's mouth. Skip said, "Put your glasses back on." Skip. Oh my God. Yeah. That's his brother, Skip. Rick Bayless, the Mexican cuisine guy. Very accomplished family. She probably gave him that milk. That's why he's sassy like that, child. He's sassy, child. Skip very sassy. I know he married, but he be sassy. Oh, never mind. Skip be having hot flashes. Skip, 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 skip. you know, you know, like with one thing about Dick Gregory. Y'all can say what y'all want about Dick Gregory. Now, Dick Gregory could be an a-hole. He could. May he rest in peace. He was a cantankerous old man. But Dick, he'll go off on you. But he would not hit below the belt. He wouldn't say things about you. He wouldn't call you out your name. He'll go off on you even in public spaces, but he wouldn't call you out your name. As far as I know, he didn't call me out my name. And then he'll come back and say, how's the family? He said, what's going on, man? He'll pay for dinner or whatever. He'll make sure you get into an event that he's featured at, no problem. He didn't hold grudges. Dick would say, I'm mad at you, I don't want to talk to you no more. Then he'll talk to you again. But he didn't never like try to demean, he didn't call you out your name. It's like for a lot of us, it seemed personal, but it wasn't personal with him. If that make any sense. But if Shannon actually felt disrespected because his pitch and his voice change was interesting. Maybe it was real, but I applaud him for, if it was real, I applaud him for having some type of restraint and not going up Skip's head. You could have did some, maybe could knock some sense into Skip. I don't know. Anyway. Ain't no such thing as dumb question. I know it's hard for y'all to believe. Dick Gregory he had a lot. It's a lot. I'm gonna tell you something. Dick Gregory, like his son said, he had health issues. Like towards the end, dealing with Dick Gregory, he had a lot of stuff going on with him that wasn't talked about while he was alive. In terms of his circulatory issues, he had like many strokes over the years that were undiagnosed. So he had a lot of health issues. Like when he would fasting, he was just not fasting. He was starving his body. Fasting is not necessarily bad to fast. Sometimes your body needs a break. But Dick would actually stop eating and he'll go to extremes with the fasting will become starving his body. And then he would do things like run across the country when his doctors advised him not to run across the country because the health consequences that would happen later. And like I remember I was in a hotel in Atlanta. He showed me some of the abuse that happened and trying to he basically was committing like a slow form of revolutionary suicide. Like he wasn't, he was killing himself slowly for the people. If that make any sense, like he starved for the love of his people. He put his body through extremes for the love of his people. So at the end, I mean, he tired. He ran this marathon, and you lost so many good friends like Medgar Evers and Malcolm X and Dr. King before they turned 40. These were family men like Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory had a whole bunch of kids. But he wasn't there for his kids. He sacrificed his family life for the movement, for the people. And you do all this amazing work to realize that, hey, we may be worse off than we were 60 years ago in some way. That could be frustrating for somebody at the end of the road almost. I mean, it is what it is. But thank God me and people like me, like Mike Dennis, a Real Black, and other folks, we stood in for you all that was afraid to approach Dick Gregory. I tried to introduce Dick Gregory to people. They were afraid to talk to Dick Gregory. And here I am, I'm getting cursed out and all this stuff. And I'm still hanging in there like an idiot. But if I didn't do that, a lot of this material that a lot of us take for granted would not have been available. If everybody got scared of Dick Gregory to ask him a question and ran away when he disrespected them, there will be a lot of material because Dick Gregory was reintroduced to younger generations of people. And like I remember like a year before he died in Kansas City, we talked about this. I saw him at the Kansas City Improv back in August of 2016. And almost a year later, almost to the day, he was dead. And I remember talking to him in the hotel. He called me on. I called him. He said, "Ron, I want to thank you, and and people like you, the platforms you have, y'all have reintroduced me to a new generation of people." He said, "I'm more popular now than I was in my prime." And you gotta be crazy. Dick Gregory was making more money than Frank Sinatra at one point in his actual prime as a young man. But you gotta understand, it was only there's 3 networks back then. Only 3 networks that controlled everything. Now you had all this stuff going, and so he was like, young people. We'll go to bodegas and stuff like that in New York or whatever, and young guys will recognize him. I remember went to a bodega near his hotel. It's like a corner store up in Manhattan, and this dude followed us from the bodega, and Dick was talking to me because we were getting a late night dinner. Dude followed us, and Dick looked back at him and said, "I told you, huh, that me and my friend are trying to have a conversation. We're on our way to eat dinner, and you disrespect me like this, huh? You disrespect me like this. You effing disrespect me like this." He said, and the dude was a young guy. All that dude did was like stood there and smiled. He had this big smile on his face. This young dude, because this dude like in his early 20s. He could have easily, I'm gonna knock Dick Gregory out. This man, he loved it. He loved the fact that he could tell his kids and grandkids that Dick Gregory cursed me out. So that's what that's all about. And like Dick cursed out his family members all the time. And they said, like when I met them at the homegoing at the wake at Howard University, "Oh, you the one he cursed out all the time. We love you. You just like family." So it is what it is. So yeah. Yeah, she did. Lil, her birthday was just recently, November 24th. Did a phenomenal job. He gives all the credit. You know what I'm saying? Dick gives all the credit. Truth be told, the reason why you know about Baba is because of Brother Ron. That's no disrespect to Baba, but that's truth be told. Because nobody wasn't interviewing Dick Gregory like that until I started interviewing him. And that's like I gotta tell my receipts because I remember I started talking to Dick on my blog talk show back in 2011. And because of Marcus Jones, and God bless the dead, because Marcus Jones, he passed on to glory. It'll be the anniversary tomorrow. It'll be the 8-year anniversary. Him passing on to glory. That's the father of Michael Bell, a Jenna 6 fan. He told me to reach out to Baba Dick Gregory. And so when we did that Django interview, when we did the review of Django, it went viral. Like I saw Django back in December 2012. Damn, it's like everything. That's like 10 years ago this month. And I was going through some bad breakup with the Sagittarius woman. She just broke my heart. It was horrible. But I went to the movies to see Django. Then something told me to reach out to Dick Gregory. And we talked about Django. And then I said, "Oh, well, whatever." So I decided to put out what he said about Django, about Spike Lee, and about Quentin Tarantino back in early January of 2013. And I ain't think nothing about it. Then the next day, Dick called me and said, he had his wife Lil on the phone. He said, "You know what, Brother Ron? You know what we just did? You know what we did?" I said, "What did you talking about?" "I don't know what you talking about." "Man, I just got a call from Quentin Tarantino and Jamie Foxx and I think Reginald Hudlin, and said, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your review, man." So that stuff went like viral. I didn't get all the hits. Like, YouTube never tell you the truth about how many hits you get, but I kept on getting phone calls from around the country and stuff and email requests for interviews with Dick Gregory. Now they were trying to cater to my ego, said, "We want to talk to you." They didn't want to talk to me. They want to talk to Dick Gregory. And that was cool. But Dick was letting me know that his phone was ringing out the hook because of that Django stuff and calling out Spike Lee for not seeing the movie, but criticizing the movie he never saw. But you know what's funny about Dick Gregory? He was a real shapeshifter because Spike Lee did that commercial with him and Kevin Durant for Nike. Like Spike Lee had no problem working with Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory called him a thug. You know how Dick, thug, punk, and all that stuff Dick would do. I guess he did call people out their names. Never mind. But some people could take it. It's different times. But he still did that commercial for Kevin Durant and Nike. And I think he donated his money to charity. He didn't want the money, from my understanding. I think that's the same thing he did with Bob Marley. Bob Marley wanted to pay Dick Gregory, but Dick Gregory didn't want the money. Well, he donated it to charity or something like that, because his issue with Bob Marley was that he did the song called Buffalo Soldier. And Bob Marley called himself giving honor to the black soldier, the Buffalo Soldier. But Dick Gregory saw it as a disgrace because of what the Buffalo Soldiers did to the Native Americans out west. And so, they came to understand it. But anyway, that's a Dick Gregory story. Yeah, I'm putting respect on my name, man. I don't let people talk because like this society is weird because like the people that do the work a lot of times you don't get acknowledged, you get erased, you get forgotten about, and that's okay. It comes like Dick Gregory already told me, when the universe soul God uses you, sometimes it doesn't leave any evidence that you was the one. So I'm gonna put some respect on my own name. That's how I look at it. But thank y'all for supporting. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Cedric didn't have a good taste about Baba in his mouth. They both St. Louis legends. No, Cedric's from St. Louis too. Thank you so much. Zabak the midget. I love it. I love midgets, man. Yeah, tell me about it. Oh my God.
Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that jingle review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace.